Are we nearly 24 hours away from another primetime incident for the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray? And what's at stake for their franchise quarterback, Johnny Venerable?
I don't mean to put this in layman's terms, but literally everything. And will they feed Marvin Harrison Jr. the football? Let's all hope, as we hope to the football gods here on a game preview show starting now. Hello, welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. It's game preview show. Only got 2 more of these bad boys. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brack, my co-host, live in Studio K. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire, behind the microphone as we break down a pivotal, maybe the most pivotal game for Kyler Murray to date. Our show brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Never Ordinary, the presenting sponsor. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365. Kyler Murray can't have an ordinary or below average performance. And I know we've talked about it, Bo, ad nauseum all week, and there are other storylines to discuss, but it feels like they are a distant third to K1 getting right, whether it's with a dub or not on prime time against an old foe in the LA Rams and Sean McVay.
Yeah, the pressure's on for Kyler Murray to have his best performance post-bye. That has to happen for Kyler Murray. It absolutely does. I think he has to play his best football here in the final 2 games in order to kind of fend off the angry mob, right? It already had a pretty solid contingent of people that were Kyler Murray haters, right? And then I think some people have kind of crossed the aisle based on the performance the last couple of weeks. And it's really unfortunate based on how he performed in the first 10 weeks that helped the Cardinals to a 6-4 record. But, a lot has changed in such a short time. Let me welcome in each and every one of you in the chat. If you're watching over on Twitter, jump on over into the chat. The water's always fine. If you're part of our streaming friends as well, thank you for tuning in to PHNX Cardinals. What's up, Ryan H., Jess? How about BA, Brian, Michael Evans, Ian Keller, Shaft, giving me some medical advice. I appreciate that. Jeffrey, sick of my job. Terrence, Fox Body Guy. That looks new to the chat to me. Welcome, Terrence. If you've been around, I apologize. So many great people here. So many people excited to kind of preview this game. Shadow GI saying, let's just hope we can repeat this Cardinals versus Rams game, I think all the way back in week 2. And that was forever ago. And this team, both teams, not resembling what they did respectively in that game where the Cardinals, hung a 40 burger on Sean McVay and crew.
I think it's an indictment of the Cardinals, certainly, that they did that and subsequently now are a 7-point dog with our friends at Bet365, 6.5, 7. The line's jumping back and forth. Don't you feel like that's a huge indictment of how this season has gone? And you want to talk about adversity, man. The LA Rams, and yes, I have, Brian, pronounced them dead a multitude of times this year, and they are, in fact,
RIP.
Yeah, RIP to those takes for me, and RIP my sanity here.
I think I'm gonna tag some of those old
takes
exposed.
Let's not do that.
Just get you some national attention for those. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, those are super fun. Definitely won't be deleting those after the show.
Johnny's account is big enough where we definitely could get him probably plastered all over.
Let's do it.
The Twitter streets for sure.
Listen, I'm sorry that the team that I root for and cover professionally here couldn't get their act together and they had the shovel. The dirt was there to bury the LA Rams. And you know what? They took the shovel and they hit themselves in the face with it in the tune of 1-4 post-bye, and now are a complete embarrassment. And we got to talk about not only this collapse yet again, but is Kyler Murray going to be the quarterback for this team moving forward. Isn't that it's peak Arizona Cardinal football, right? Like, hey, your division's right there. The Rams have regressed. The Niners are in shambles. The Seahawks are the Seahawks. It's all there for you, Cardinals. And they're just like, well, actually, we're going to implode. We could finish fourth, and we're going to make you question everything that you thought you knew already. I just love it. It's a chef's kiss.
No. We don't want the division. No, we're not ready for it.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Just completely self-sabotaging themselves every single step of the way post-bye. It's really unfortunate. We see you, Josh, with that super chat. We're, of course, going to get to the super chats here later in the show. But thank you for the generous gift there, along with our key players in predictions. Man, week 2, the Cardinals send the Rams to 0-2. That was probably the first of many of their what we thought was their death, right? And then the Cardinals, we thought, they were bouncing back from relinquishing the lead in week 1, and that, Kyler Murray and his perfect passer rating were just going to be an ascending team, and we're going to, kind of take care of business. Like, they got that Sean McVay monkey off their back. Remember all the way going into week 2? Like, they'd never beat McVay at State Farm Stadium ever. And they did it in a big way with an exclamation point. And it weren't able to kind of parlay that. They didn't even immediately after that parlay that into to success. They lost to the Lions. The offense really kind of began its real true downfall for the remainder of the season.
Descent into hell was
descent into hell. As Satan got his hands, his claws right around you and just pulled you down to the depths of hell offensively. But yeah, I mean, you had the 13-point performance against the Lions where you shut them out in the second half. You're like, at that point, you were like, is this defense going to be able to make enough stops for this team to be competitive this season? Oh, were we very naive to the fact that this offense was going to leave us hanging for basically from then on out. They got blown out by Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels the next week. And they got a win on the road against the Niners, which nobody expected. And then we're 2-4, and it looked like it was going to be a lost season. And they go 4-0 the next couple games into the bye at 6-4. And now here we are 1-4 after that. And the team 7-8 out of the playoffs, trying to play spoiler against this Rams team.
Yeah, listen, you can talk about the trajectory of this team. And, I even see people starting to go through their mental gymnastics of, well, the Cardinals won 4 games last year and they've won 7 games this year, right? But I don't think, oh my goodness, what? I saw Brian retweeted it. We're not gonna go old.
Have you ever been old takes exposed before?
Yes, many times. I think I called the Russell Wilson trade for Seattle the worst trade in NFL history, meaning they gave away Russell Wilson. And to be fair, I was among many who thought that, and it didn't work out. So yes, I've been old takes exposed many times. Listen, I'm going to shoot my shot. Go ahead.
I got exposed by old takes exposed or freezing cold takes. I can't remember which one it was. I had said after Tony Romo had started in the preseason, I was like, Tony Romo's not going to be good at this broadcast thing. And then he became so hot the next couple regular season weeks, and I just got ratioed off of Twitter nearly that. But it kind of looks decent. You won. Yeah, I think I did.
You won that battle.
I think that was a dub.
I think there are thousands of people out there that owe you an apology.
I agree
personally, because I was right there in that army with you on the front line.
I don't like this show. Here's what
Johnny didn't age well. Mine did. Thank you, Damon, Dawg, for pointing that out.
I think old takes exposed, maybe some Kyler Murray takes could be on the horizon for this podcast here. Because if we're planting our flag here for K1 one more week, is there a possibility we do a show Monday and we just look like the biggest morons for ever saying this is the guy long term? What happens if Kyler Murray comes out and has a lukewarm to atrocious game Saturday night? I mean, you saw the disgust, respectfully, on Jonathan Gannon's face when he was asked about not playing Kyler Murray at the end of this year. And I don't think it was an indictment of Clayton Tune. I think just well, he's my quarterback. Who the hell else am I going to play? Yet I think, again, I don't think it's hyperbole to say we're about 24 hours away from a crossroads for the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray plays well, I think win or loss, I think if you look up a couple touchdowns, some big explosives. Again, things that we have not seen post-bye, but
Yeah.
a really efficient game from K1. I think a lot of people can say, like, we got issues with this team, but Kyler Murray, it's worth running back. I think if Kyler Murray has several atrocious interceptions on national TV, and we have to do a post-game show, people are going to be done with him. Doesn't matter what the finale looks like. Doesn't matter with all the hype videos in the offseason. Like, he, like, somehow, and we talked about this before we jumped on air, you cannot spin 1-6 to end the year, or 2-5, and your quarterback being a complete liability. It's not something that this fan base is prepared to endure. And for Jonathan Gannon, like, I'd be with Drew Petzing hand in hand this week. You better be cooking up the most quarterback, wide receiver friendly game imaginable. I don't give what's about the run game this week.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about who's going to be available. That's how pivotal this game is, just to save face for the offseason.
Yeah. No, I mean, Gannon needs to be in his face like he was in Rondale Moore's face, you know, when he took the job, and to Drew Petzing, and say, hey, shots, explosives. We need to take our chances here and see if we can kind of turn back the clock all the way to week 2, when you're at Marvin Harrison Jr. for the longest pass play of the season, 60 plus yards to the house, his second of 2 touchdowns. What was the other one before that? 33 yards.
Yeah.
That would remedy a lot of what people view as the issue here. And I know it's not a cure-all. It's not, because there are people that are going to be out. The performance post-bye has already been too damning.
Some people are already done.
I think what's at stake here for Kyler Murray is being able to get him back in a position where people can say, point me to a better option than Kyler Murray. And if he can put together a good performance against the Rams and a good performance against the Niners, to get on out here and avoid catastrophic interceptions, which he's had, you know, in 5 consecutive games, I think that people can get back and they can just hang their hat on for the rest of the offseason. Is like, okay, you want to move off Kyler Murray? Well, point me to the pivot guy. Point me to where you pivot, and it can't be Jameis Winston, and it can't be Daniel Jones, because those are still worse options, right?
Yeah.
But if it's, you know, point to the NFL draft, or point to make a run at like Sam Darnold or whatever, I don't think you have a whole lot of, like, you don't have something, you can't, like, kind of lean on that very, very well. It won't go very far. You can just point to the success of, you know, say Darnold or you know, potential draft pick.
I want to get to one of these comments here. Brian spamming our chat. With Murray is missing 3 starting O-linemen and his wide receivers don't get separation, no, he isn't playing for his job. Like, I can tell you unequivocally, Brian, like, there are people within the organization that have been disappointed with Kyler Murray's play post-bye. And if you don't think every NFL quarterback being paid a premium has to go to war without a full deck, so to speak, like, you're nuts. And I'm going to tell you right now, Brian, Paris Johnson Jr. and Jonah Williams and Kelvin Beachum have been in the lineup for most of the season. He has had really, Bo, I think you would agree with this, above average offensive line play. Sans the Seattle matchups, the offensive line looked good. Pass protection aces, right? The interior offensive line has been good. Like, we can have a conversation all day, every day about separation. He's got Trey McBride. They invested in Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson has been tremendous when he's had opportunities. Like, we can talk about the passing game, and it's the chicken and the egg with he and Drew Petzing, but, like, the tools have been there. Like, I watch Justin Herbert do more with less. When you talk about, like, no elite playmakers, he's making Ladd McConkey into a stud his first year. You know, that offense has generated a lot more explosives in the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals just have no excuse. Like, here, biggest point I want to make, Brian, is Saturday night, Cardinal fans are not going to be talking about, well, we're missing Paris and Jonah Williams. They're going to be talking about, why didn't the quarterback, if he doesn't get it done, fall short again, this time on national TV? Like, people do not want to hear excuses anymore. And I'm with them. Like, this is the NFL, man. It's not going to be perfect. It's not, sure as hell's not going to be perfect in late December for any of these teams.
Right. No, and there's been, throughout this whole post-bye schedule, has been opportunities for Kyler Murray to step up and take this team to a win, and unfortunately has fallen short of that.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to point to 36 points surrendered by the defense. Look, the Cardinals cut that game, that the lead to 3 for the Panthers going into halftime. You were trailing a 3-win team by 3 going into halftime.
Yep.
And the Cardinals had every opportunity in that second half, got more than enough stops necessary to win that game. So the defense, they even got the ball back after Kyler Murray had the brutal interception down the sideline.
Yeah.
When they were in Panthers territory. So, I mean, look, you can point to the defense. Like, it is a team sport, no doubt about it. Nobody's denying that. And nobody's denying that Kyler is not the only person that is responsible for this team falling short post-bye. But Kyler hasn't, played his role properly post-bye to get the team where it wants to go.
I want to get to some of these Monti Ossenfort comments that he made on the flagship station. That's right around the corner here, and I think they're pretty telling here on a game preview show, PHNX Cardinals. Again, Saturday night, good vibes with us at Gila, but Saturday morning belongs to the Fiesta Bowl parade. Join our friends from AZ Family on Channel 3 or in person Saturday, December 28th at 10 a.m. in Central Phoenix for the Fiesta Bowl parade. It's a new era in the Valley of the Sun as we merge tradition and history with innovation, pageantry, and fun for the 53rd annual VRBO Fiesta Bowl Parade presented by Lerner and Rowe. To celebrate, again, check it out. It's a free event, public for friends and family. I love downtown Phoenix, love Central Phoenix. Great place, great food, great vibes, tons of local businesses to support. And again, check it out right now as Anthony Robles, the subject of the upcoming movie Unstoppable, is going to be on hand as the ASU Mesa Wrestling Champion. Great story. Hopefully you get a picture, an autograph, hang out in person. And again, if you can't make it, check out our friends at AZ Family 3 TV for parade route and more information. Check out fiestabowl.org/parade for more info. And again, momentum for this Fiesta Bowl is fantastic. Penn State taking on Boise State, and no better place to be this New Year's Eve.
No doubt about it. Excited for the Fiesta Bowl parade. It's going to go through my neck of the woods there, Central Phoenix. Also, speaking of other great events, Verizon Access is going to get you the experiences that you love, of course, with the best network worldwide. Verizon is going to get you to, how about a Suns game? A Suns game on January 12th. Yeah. You can go check out the Suns down there at the Footprint Center. Go phnx.com/Verizon for your chance to win 4 lower level seats to a Suns game on January 12th with prepaid parking. You don't have to do anything but sign up to win, enter to win. Go phnx.com/Verizon. Of course, you're a Verizon customer. You get the Verizon access to tickets, best in sports, music, entertainment, and their award-winning 5G network that will power you through your day. Ready for those free Sun tickets? Go register right now. Go phnx.com/Verizon. Go phnx.com/Verizon. Thank you to Verizon for hooking us up with Suns tickets. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends Friday, January 3rd.
Big thanks to our friends at Verizon. Big thanks to everybody in the chat. Drop a like here on a game preview show here on a football Friday. I tease it. So Thea Mackey does a great job. Mateo Mackey, at AZ Central, posted some Monti Ossenfort quotes from the flagship station, Cardinals flagship station. And I thought they were pretty telling. This is from Ossenfort, who I hope to hear from. We hope to hear from by the end of the year as Jonathan Gannon does his year-end presser, saying not where we wanted to be, but taking a step back, looking to where we've come and the gains we've made. We played a lot of young players this year. We've had a lot of development at a lot of positions across the board. But then speaking about Kyler Murray, when Kyler's playing at a high level, we've shown that we can compete with just about anybody. We've also seen that we're not playing at a high level. When we're not playing at a high level, we're turning the ball over and not taking the ball away, we can lose to anybody. And then he echoed some points here about K1 and Marv, saying that the connection isn't what they want, but they still believe it will come with time. There's plays he would want back, and I think there's opportunities out there for Marv to improve. So, again, I mean, I don't know if I would consider that a ringing endorsement for anybody. I think Monti Ossenfort, those comments are a reflection, I think, of the mean of the fan base, where it's like, yeah, we're happy that a bunch of young guys played. Certainly, you didn't finish where you wanted to be. And, yeah, Kyler Murray can put on a show and have you right there against, the Minnesota Vikings, but a bad fourth quarter can lose you the game. He can put 40 plus against Sean McVay, but he can also be susceptible to a horrendous record post-bye. And I think maybe it speaks to consistency. Well, how do you fix that consistency? I think that's the question they're going to ask themselves this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't look at this stretch just overall with a critical eye, it could sink what you know, a lot of the positives that they've had from this rebuild. And you know, I think Monti Ossenfort he's the key here. Like he is obviously going to be the one that's going to determine the fate of Kyler Murray and you know, his stint here with the franchise. And I mean, to hear him say that, you know, it's nice to hear that he's not just going to base it all on this stretch here, but this stretch is concerning. I mean, it's turned, you know, the host of this podcast from firm believers in Kyler Murray to asking, like, what went wrong? Why has he not delivered, at least in a couple of these games, to put the Cardinals in a position, at least in week 17, to stay in the playoff chase? I mean, it's over. I mean, and it was lost against the 3-win team the week before. And there were opportunities against the Seahawks. There was opportunities in each and every one of these games for them to get it done. And they didn't. And no doubt about it, like the undisciplined play from the offensive line to injuries to turnovers, it's all a mess. Like nobody is you know, free of criticism here. But you know, as Kyler Murray said, you know, a couple weeks ago, he understands that comes with the gig. I mean, that's and you've got to be able to. They have to look at this and say, okay, was this just a little blip, or was this going to be something that's going to linger and really, you know, hurt the Cardinals' chances of going to where they want to go?
You know, I think fair or not, Kyler Murray now is synonymous with end of year collapses, right? Dating back to, you know, 2020. And I think, you know, as Andy puts it in the chat, you know, you get paid $50 million and you play like a rookie and there are inconsistencies. You know, he believes it's time to move on. The question for Ossenfort and Gannon will be, if you have that conversation, what are you moving on to? And I think a lot of teams get in trouble pivoting off a quarterback and then having a lesser option just for the sake of it. Like people are talking about Kyler Murray's money, and I think that you know, is a little bit tongue in cheek, because Cardinals are going to have more money than they know what to spend. They're not going to spend it all this offseason. Ditching Kyler Murray because of his price tag next year is not the reason you'd move off of K1. Like, right. Okay, go get Jalen Milroe or Quinn Ewers. Awesome. You're paying them no money. Guess what? They're likely not going to be nearly as good or as productive as Kyler Murray. So, but you have to have everybody has to be in agreement as to what the plan is. Bidwell has to be involved in those conversations. Monti Ossenfort is leading those conversations, and Jonathan Gannon and whomever's calling plays for the Cardinals, they all have to be in sequence. They all have to be a firm understanding. Just like when Ossenfort and Gannon took the job and they spoke with Michael Bidwell, they said, yeah, we're going to put a plan in place for Kyler Murray to be successful. Mm-hmm. And it's up to Kyler Murray to run with it or not. And right now, like, we 10 games in thought this is blossoming. This is a partnership that's going to last hopefully 5+ more years. And Kyler Murray is going to play out his contract, maybe get a new one too. Is this who Kyler Murray is post-bye? And a lot of his skeptics and pundits would say, yeah, this is who he's always been. He starts fast. They have collapses at the end of the year. He can't hold up physically. You know, I would have great concerns about, you know, his arm strength right now. Why are some of these balls like fluttering in certain aspects of the game? Like, and who knows, maybe those will dissipate Saturday night. But I don't know. I just, as crazy as it sounds, I don't think that you can put any more of an ownership of this game come Saturday night could very well dictate Kyler Murray's future in Arizona, short-term and long-term. I don't think we're out of the, you know, our wits here to suggest that, Bo.
No, I don't think we're out of pocket at all. Like for kind of speculating on that. I mean, a good performance, an average performance, mistake-free performance would go a long way, I think, for Kyler Murray. Especially for the decision makers for the Arizona Cardinals, because like based on, you know, what Monty said on the flagship and via Theo Mackey of AZ Central, you know, they're not forgetting, you know, what Kyler Murray has done since he returned, you know, in week 10 against the Falcons in 2023, and how he was able to elevate one of the worst rosters in the league. Like, they understand that he's fair. He has the skill set capable to be a franchise quarterback. But I think there's a lot of people that are scratching their head and trying to figure out what his role was as far as the offense's inconsistency throughout the year. And then, of course, these mistakes down the stretch post-bye that have sank the Cardinals playoff chances. When, you can look at it in big picture and say, hey, the Cardinals made progress in year 2 of this rebuild, but you can't deny the opportunity that they relinquished post-bye. You just can't. If you are, then like we take a lot of flack for being fanboys and cheerleaders and having our pom-poms out. That is just too much glass half full mentality for the reality that is the NFL, where did they get chewed up and spit out already with what they have in place, and that's unfortunate because there was so much goodwill that they had created through 10 weeks of the season.
It'd be one thing if the defense ran out of gas and it was too much for Kyler and the offense to overcome, because I think that's what a lot of us thought would happen. Certainly me clamoring, Bo, July and August about you got to get a pass rush. It could be the difference between 8, 9, 10 wins and 7 wins and being out of the playoff picture. The fact that, and I think it's salt in the wound, don't you? The fact that the defense, and I know last week happened, the defense so grossly overachieved this year, and we're so well coached and ahead of schedule, and gave you opportunities against the Seahawks, against the Vikings at times, and you guys blew those opportunities. Like Cardinal fans aren't going to forget that. They held the Lions to like 20 points. They shut them out in the second half. Couldn't do anything offensively in the second half. There are too many times this year where the offense looked dejected, out of sync, not prepared, lacking big explosives. Like it's a problem when we look back and it's like Rams, Dolphins are the big explosive games, and maybe you mix in the Jets with a little bit of underneath. That's about it. It's a long season for you. Overwhelmingly, your offense underperformed every single Sunday. And I will say this till the cows come home. The personnel outside of the quarterback is not changing. They're not cutting Marv. They're not cutting Michael Wilson. They're extending Trey McBride. Your offensive line, for the most part, is intact. Your running backs are under contract. So how are you selling a fan base on the improvements that are going to come, organically or not, if the same play caller and quarterback are back? You can't. And we will come on this show the week of Black Monday if they retain Drew Petzing and say, unless you have something else planned, this is a massive mistake pending these final 2 games. But does anybody think the Cardinals are going to light the world on fire off? We've been waiting all season for that.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure was on before. The pressure becomes even more immense over the next couple weeks. And, nobody, I don't care, what is deemed as progress in like a general manager having his team go on a primetime spot that the NFL handpicked for this Saturday game to wrap up their triple header. Nobody wants to look bad in that on that stage. Just nobody does. And that unfortunately goes back to the previous regime. Like, and that's going to have the fan base start, because they understand it. They'll start questioning, Monti and JG, because it's like, hey, it's another primetime game I tuned into wearing my Cardinals shirt and jersey at home, and the team wasn't competitive again. What's the difference? Because it looks just as similar to the Keim era and the Kingsbury Wilkes coach teams.
I just can't emphasize enough. Like, if Kyler Murray plays poorly, everything's on the table these last 2 games. If you don't think that, you are nuts. I see a lot of people who are saying it's a guarantee he's back next year. I'm sorry. Like, if you get Michael Bidwell's blessing to do whatever you need to do, like, I just feel like you can't scrub 1-6 out of your memory if that's how they finish the year. 0 for your last 4 in the division. And everybody's going to be talking about, well, the Niners are going to retool, and the Seahawks, I mean, they're a quarterback away, and the Cardinals are just middling. They lose out, they're in last place again. It's just unacceptable. It is unacceptable for a quarterback, head coach, offensive coordinator combination to have all season together. I don't care what their schedule is, and be last in passing touchdowns in the NFL. That's just atrocious. Bo Nix has 22 touchdown passes this year, throwing you and me, Bo. Kyler Murray has Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah. 16 passing time. It's just not good enough, man. We want this to transpire. It has not transpired. What are we going to do? Sit up here and lie to you?
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. So as it stands right now, I would say there's anywhere from 75 to 80% chance that Kyler Murray is this team's quarterback.
I think 75. Yeah.
If he loses in horrific fashion tomorrow, what does that number dwindle to?
50. I think, well, you got to do it over the next 2 games. So let's say he loses badly in prime time, and then they lose like a lackluster game at home, and Brock Purdy outplays him, right? I think it's a coin flip.
The unfortunate thing is, it would create a sense of urgency to
get rid of him,
to move off,
right?
But then it's just like, where do you go from there? And I think that plays a heavy role as far as, the percentages of moving off of them.
I'm going to tell you where I think they would have to go and the urgency they would have to have. I'm going to share that with you right around the corner.
No, you're a dirty man.
Orman with the plan. Brandon Bills has got a plan, and the plan is to show you the best fitted hat where money can buy. And they're locally owned and operated here out of Mesa, Arizona. Great people, family-owned operation. PHNX 20% off your first order. They've got your headwear to last a lifetime, including the campus collection with U of A and ASU. I'm not repping it today, but I've got 3 branded Bills PHNX lids that you can get right now at the merchandise locker. They are fantastic. I always get complimented on them. Snapbacks, truckers, fitted, beanies, and tees. They've got you covered. Start your order today. Head to brandedbills.com. Use the bonus code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Again, Bo's repping it right now. They are the best hats in the Valley. I'm always walking around, even if they're not PHNX branded, I'm like, I got to get that hat. I got to see that hat. And like, I'm always looking for like the mix of, I want to be cool, right? But I also want to have a hint of like laid back dad hat. They've got me covered, because I don't know if I can completely pull off like the flat, brim as a 36-year-old 5'6" white male. But what I can tell you is Brandon Bills, I feel like I just upgrade my collection. I upgrade my attire. And again, we're going to upgrade you with 20% off just using the bonus code PHNXPO.
Absolutely. Love my Brandon Bills and PHNX collab. I've seen the campus collection around here. Lots of U of A, lots of ASU swag. Brandon Bills has you covered. Repping your alma or whatever school you rep. How about our friends over at Cult Cannabis? Talk about good collaborations. True Leave locations. Cult Cannabis is now available at your local True Leave with a huge variety of premium flower. That's right. Check it out. This collab between True Leave and their exclusive magic marker. The Valley has been asking for her, and now she's back. Check it out. Visit trueleave.com to find a local shop near you. Place an order to tell them that PHNX sent you, that you got out there and you can find their new magic marker or the exclusive magic marker. It's the great flower that's hard to find these days. Luckily, our friends over at Cult Cannabis have been dropping absolute fire with our friends at here at PHNX Studios and your local True Leave. Check it out now. Go to True Leave location opening in Johnny's old stomping grounds, Maricopa, January 11th, and then go to trueleave.com to find your local shop. Place an order to tell them our friends over at PHNX Cardinals sent you.
All right. Well, be our friends at Tankathon, which I did not want to be friendly with until the Cardinals abruptly tore my heart out post-bye. The quarterback class this year's draft is not great. Now, we will be, I
hate the quarterback class.
We'll have an open mind. You'll be at the Senior Bowl with Damon, Dawg. We'll have an open mind. You hated Bo Nix. He was skipping balls at the Senior Bowl. He's playing better than Kyler Murray this year. So we're going to be optimistic here. But here's what I will say. Giants are going to have the first pick, right? Then you've got New England, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Cleveland, Vegas, Chicago, Carolina, the Jets, and New Orleans, okay? About half of those teams need a quarterback. Let's say hypothetically the Titans are not in a position to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. The Raiders are not in position to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Let's focus on the Raiders. They're in the AFC. Let's focus on the Titans. They're in the AFC. Both have ties to the Arizona Cardinals. Hell, Tom Brady watched Kyler Murray play his best game of the year this year. I think for you to be able, if you know you're going to pivot and you could sell it to teams that it's just not a good fit, and you retain Drew Petzing, which, again, a lot of people feel like would be a mistake, you would have to do something before the new league year kicked in. You would have to come to Kyler Murray and Eric Burkhart and just say, hey, I think it's best if we look for a trade partner. And then I think you would take some kind of package where you could get value back. and then give yourself, Bo, you would have to give yourself the entire offseason, end of February, March, April, May, to try to find your starter for 2025. Not your long-term fix, right? But give yourself, before free agency kicked off, an opportunity to have everything in front of you. I think if they do not do that, I do not believe he will be on the move. I don't think he's going to be on the move right now today. We're projecting 2 weeks if things continue to implode. But, Bo, I just feel like you have to do, I mean, when was Russell Wilson traded? I'll give you a comp. Like Derek Carr got released, remember, really early, so he could go and sign with New Orleans. I feel like you would have to do something like that where it would have to get leaked out by Schefter or Rap Sheet before the league year started that the Cardinals intend to trade Kyler Murray pending a physical once the New Year league breaks, blah, blah, blah. So everybody can have a fresh start. I think waiting, first of all, I don't think Kyler Murray would respond well to a veteran competition, to somebody like Jalen Milroe coming in as a first or a second round pick. You would have to have a complete clean slate. I just don't think it's going to work any alternative compared to that. You can nitpick it though.
Yeah, I can't believe we're having this conversation right now.
It's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. If he were traded pre-June 1st in the 2025 offseason, it would result in $33 million in dead cap.
Well, who cares? That doesn't matter.
I'm just giving people context.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
you would get $12 million.
Sorry I interrupted you.
Such a rude bully. You would get $12 million in cap savings, and then you get that as far as what you've already got $80+ million in cap. So you could go out and you can be competitive with any of the free agent quarterbacks out there.
You pick your guy.
You could. I mean, like, reality is, would Sam Darnold, would he leave?
No,
his situation? No. So who's available?
I'm telling you right now.
Justin Fields.
I'm telling you right now, they would pursue Kirk Cousins.
No,
I'm telling you right now.
Enough. He's not anywhere mobile enough to run this offense. That is a huge requirement. You have to have a little bit of athleticism. He has no athleticism.
I mean,
none. Negative.
How athletic is Clayton Tune?
Way more than Kirk Cousins. Clayton Tune was the second most athletic quarterback in his quarterback class, according to the combine.
At the end of the day, though, Bo, we're talking about throwing the football. I know Kirk Cousins sucks, Ian. He's not any good.
He sucks at football still. He threw 1 touchdown to 9 interceptions.
I think he's not fully healed from his Achilles. They rushed him back. I would bring him in for a workout. I think Kirk Cousins, a year and a half removed from Achilles, is better than most of what you can get in the free agent market.
He's not better than Kyler Murray right now.
I agree with that. But if you feel, I'm not talking about you're not finding your long-term solution in free agency.
I'm out on this quarterback class.
Okay, you're just keeping the status quo.
Unless you're taking a day 2, day 3 flyer.
Oh, don't talk about flyers. Flyers get people fired, like Will Levis.
Well, no, moving off Kyler Murray with Kirk Cousins is your best option. That completely torpedoes your.
I'm not saying I would do it.
Of Gannon and Monti, and could be the final nail in their coffins.
If you don't think
I don't want that,
Petzing would love Kirk Cousins, you are outside your mind. He is part of the Shanahan tree. They've always had an affinity for him. It is gross. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying what I think they should do. I definitely think
they wouldn't even call his agent.
Who would they pursue then? If they traded Kyler Murray, who would they pursue?
Give
me a name.
I think if they seriously were considering moving off Kyler, they would try to go all in on Sam Darnold.
Oh my God. Sam Darnold, who probably will be, let's just call it, he's going to be franchise tagged. They're not moving off to Sam. Let's say Sam Darnold's not available. Sam Darnold's going to be winning playoff games. He could be the 1 seed. Sam Darnold.
That would go great.
This is such a disgusting conversation.
No, but this is when times are tough on this podcast, and you got to rear your head back and say, "Are you ready to get gross with Kirk Cousins or Malik Willis in free agency?"
I'm not.
Well, they're gonna, if they're 1-6 post bye,
they have to win next year. That's the thing. They have to win football games, and you want to bring in butterfly passes, hospital ball, Kirk Cousins.
People are saying Russell Wilson's going to get a nice little contract after this year.
He will. I mean, Russell Wilson's way better option than Kirk Cousins. Don't make me say.
So you're
like
talking
Justin
it out loud
Fields?
right now, saying there's no reality that they move off of Kyler
That's
Murray.
why I think it's such a tall, so far fetched. Because I mean, unless somebody who's currently rostered right now at the quarterback position forces his way out, the options, the pivot guy, it doesn't exist right now. Like your best way to improve that room is going out and getting a high, like a Cooper Rush as a backup, or drafting a guy that's going to put the pressure on. And I'm not talking first round.
And Kyler would be out on both those. I think he'd be.
Kyler has lost. I'll agree with you. He's lost the luxury of kind of dictating how that goes.
I think Cardinal fans
I
also
you said Kirk Cousins. I really can't. Like you love Kirk Cousins. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Bo.
His favorite player.
Yeah,
he is not. Stop. He is not fully healed from his Achilles injury, and
he's 36. He probably will never be fully healed.
Johnny told me, he said Kirk Cousins' favorite thrower of the football I've ever watched in my time watching the sport.
Look, this franchise, they don't like it. They love taking veterans and making them into quote unquote contenders. This is what this franchise does. If you think, I don't care what Ossenfort and Gannon think, if you think for a second, if they trade Kyler Murray, that they wouldn't at least talk to Kirk Cousins, they absolutely would. They 100% would. You were nuts. Well, like Drew Petzing, like mobility with his quarterback, I don't know if that is necessarily. You need mobility, hand it off 40 times a game. You need mobility, give it to DeMercado on third down.
You need a guy that can drive the ball downfield.
I think the
Kirk Cousins doesn't possess the ability to do that anymore.
I agree with you, unless his Achilles and he can't plant on his foot this year and drive the football. There's concern about that, but no, I'm with you. I just draft Jalen Milroe in the second round, Kyler Murray's going to be like, what the hell is going on? And then it's going to be.
You know what the simple answer is? Hey, let me show you post-buy how you guys perform.
There's going to be a big segment of the fan base that's going to want Jalen Milroe start some games.
I mean, that's what happens. That's what happens when,
I understand.
You're a franchise quarterback and you don't get the job done as far as when the opportunity is there to punch your ticket to the playoffs, or at least keep your team in the playoff race. That's the unfortunate consequences. I think he would much rather that than this ending in divorce and having to go off into, football purgatory or football top 10 picking teams like the Vegas Raiders and the Tennessee Titans.
I hope this is a moot point and Kyler Murray plays well.
I agree.
Next two games. I don't want to live this life, but
you just tried to sell me on Kirk Cousins.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think they haven't. I think
for us as a show.
Can we get back to that for a second?
Bo, don't go all in with that take. I'm telling you right now. If Kyler implodes, they'll make a phone call.
When we're at the watch party tomorrow and things go positively for the Cardinals, are you going to shout you like that because you're such a Kirk guy?
I just I'm envisioning a world where Johnny's the whole season it was too much dink and dunk, not enough downfield passing, and then it's bring on Kirk Cousins,
Captain Kirk,
guy who throws at the line of scrimmage every play.
Yeah. I need to tell Bo two things. I don't like Kirk Cousins, number one. Number two, he has more passing touchdowns than Kyler Murray this year.
Even in Kyler Murray's worst performances of the year, Kirk Cousins has been worse. Kirk Cousins, he got benched.
Then what do we say about Kyler
Murray? He
threw
one touchdown and 9 picks. They're in basically the same stretch as Kyler Murray. At least Kyler Murray was keeping his performances outside of the bad interceptions, was keeping his team in the game. There is just no redeemable qualities about 36-year-old blown Achilles Kirk Cousins, in my opinion.
Okay, I don't disagree. I'm just my take is I think if the Cardinals were to move off of Kyler Murray, I think they would be interested in Kirk Cousins. But
I disagree.
Okay, I mean, I don't think anybody thought the Cardinals were going to be in this position, and I think everybody has
right to Jill Dust.
We're bracing ourselves for hell on earth here at the next 6 months because it just outside of balling out these last 2 games, like the noise, the chatter is going to grow. And I do think that there is something to be said. Like you mentioned, like Mike McDonald's not going to win the NFC West this year. The Seahawks probably aren't going to go to the playoffs. But he's got a guarantee from his ownership, like, hey, build up the roster. We'll get you a quarterback when it's time to get a quarterback upgrade. I know definitively, Ossenfort and Gannon have that same luxury. Michael Bidwell did not want to give Kyler Murray that contract. Clearly, he was uncomfortable. He put a ridiculous clause in there. It was embarrassing for everybody involved. Ossenfort and Gannon, we've talked about this before, were brought in to stabilize the organization, to build it up, and to make do with what they had at quarterback. And if Kyler Murray took off, great. But if there's tangible evidence that they're being held back by a quarterback at the end of the year, they have the opportunity to pivot for a year and reset and do what they need to do. I absolutely think that they have that option. So I
mean, Minnesota had that option pivoting off of Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Because the roster was built up, but also in-house they had one of the best offensive minds in the league.
It's fair. But if you're defending,
you don't have.
Well, if you're Jonathan Gannon though, Bo, and you defend Drew Petzing, he's my guy. I'm not moving off of him.
Well, we had this conversation yesterday, and it's like, okay, a tough decision has to be made, and you were saddled with, okay, we look at this. It's either play caller or quarterback. What do most pro sports franchises?
They fire the coach.
They usually fire the coach, right? It's just put themselves in a huge mess here.
They brought it on themselves.
Chat is unbelievable right now.
It is. You guys are on fire. This is what this show's all about. Everybody's opinion is welcomed. It's valid. It's warranted. And we're buckling up for a hell of a game tomorrow night. Hit that like button right around the corner. Game predictions here on a PHNX Cardinals preview show. We talked about it earlier. The parade leads up to the crescendo. It's the Fiesta Bowl via our friends at VRBO, December 31st, 5:30 p.m. Boise State, powered by one of the nation's leading rushers, takes on Penn State's vaunted defense in the first ever college football playoff quarterfinal. Come early for the New Year's Eve Fiesta. It starts at 2:30 with Fan Fest pregame party. It's a block party leading into the big game. They've got band performances, cheerleaders, fun and games, food, beverages, and more. Be there to witness history. Get your tickets now, fiestabowl.org/tickets. Again, join us. Buy your tickets, reserve parking, premium experiences at fiestabowl.org/tickets. And Viva Fiesta. I'm going Penn State big in this one against Boise State. Love those Penn State outside linebackers, Damon, Dawg. Chop Robinson. I was a big Chop Robinson guy on this podcast. Love Micah Parsons. That dream's probably dead, but let's see the Nittany Islands get it done. Advance to the semifinals, Bo.
Adia Isaac. That's the new guy.
Okay. All right. I like that. I remember
we need quarterbacks now. We can't talk about that.
Mock draft machine. Oh, man. Trying to move off your quarterbacks, like trying to move off flooring without any good options, right?
That's so true.
You can't move forward without good flooring. You can't just go throw like a couple blankets over where your hardwood used to be, and you took it up without another option. Empire Today is here to hook you up, set you up real nice with their professionals. It's quick, it's convenient, it's the right product for your needs, and they got that price match guarantee. Like you feel like you can go find it cheaper, well, you're gonna get what you pay for, right? Is because they're not gonna have the right materials, and they're not gonna have the right professionals to install it. But Empire Today will match any price you can find in the Valley. And they'll also give you $350 off just by being a listener or viewer of this podcast. Check out EmpireToday.com/PHNX, and you'll start off your new flooring needs with $350 off right from the jump. Check out their virtual floor designer as well. All you do is take out your smartphone, take a picture of your dwelling, where you're getting the carpeting, the flooring, and you can see what it looks like exactly in that setup. Check them out now, EmpireToday.com/PHNX. Use the code PHNX to start your flooring journey off with $350 off right from the get-go. EmpireToday.com/PHNX.
Big thanks to everybody. We got 13 super chats and counting. Everybody be sure to smash that like button here on a football Friday, one of the last football Fridays of the year when it comes to Arizona Cardinal football. And Bo, before we get into our predictions, injury report, James Conner, Trey Benson, do you believe they'll play on Saturday night?
I do. Still awaiting if there are any elevations between now and tomorrow. I think we're right at the deadline. We're about 40 minutes from the deadline.
Okay.
Haven't seen anything as far as a running back being elevated to the active roster. So they were questionable on the final injury report on Thursday, and they practiced respectively each of them 3 straight days, albeit in a limited capacity, but it's also kind of a short week for the Cardinals. I think both of them are going to be good to go.
Got it. Well, that's good news for the Arizona Cardinals. Can they get it done? Jumping in to player predictions here. I'd love to get things started, gentlemen, if I could, because I don't have faith in this passing game. And I think the Cardinals are going to go and continue to lean in on what they've done. I know that says Trey McBride. James Conner's my offensive star. No worries, Damon. And I'll double that up with my X Factor, Trey Benson. And here's what I'll say about this. I don't believe Drew Petzing has the ability to throw the ball deep. I have seen this now over 30 games coached as the OC. I think if he has his backs available, the Cardinals are going to try and play ball control, which, again, to each their own. They don't seem too concerned about feeding Marvin Harrison Jr., getting into a rhythm and timing offense. We're going to see screens to the running backs. We're going to see handoffs. And I think partially we're going to see that because he's going to be concerned about the offensive tackle play with Kelvin Beachum and then now missing Jonah Williams at right tackle. So fair or not, I think we get the same kind of shtick from Drew Petzing. And then defensively, I am looking forward to the return of Mack Wilson Sr., who, of course, went out against New England in the first quarter with a concussion. He missed last week. Be pivotal to have Mack Wilson Sr. Great chess piece for Nick Rallis and JG defensively. But, I mean, like I'm sitting here, I'd be foolish. Frankly, I would be a big dumbass if I sat up here and said the Arizona Cardinals offense is going to light the world on fire. Kyler Murray is going to have his second 300-yard passing game of the year. Marv's going to explode like the first game. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I've been predicting things that haven't been happening with this Cardinal offense for about 2 months now. This is who they are. They want to run the football. They are incredibly conservative. They run the football on 3rd and long. They run the football on 4th and 2nd. So I just, until the play caller changes or the quarterback or combination of both, this is who the Cardinals offense is. So can they win games like that? They absolutely can. Are you beating Stafford and Puka Nacua and Sean McVay like that? Hell no, you're not. Not this time around. And it's a big reason why Cardinals are a 7-point underdog on the road.
Yeah, those are I like those picks. I still, even with Connor trending towards playing, I don't know what it's going to look like, how they'll divvy up the carries. He's coming off the knee. I'm sure he's got to be in a spot where structurally everything is sound there and not at risk of doing anything more serious. I think 9 total touchdowns for the season for James Conner. Be curious if he's got, an escalator, a bonus, maybe if he reaches 10, or if he's obviously put up some pretty gaudy numbers statistically for the Cardinals. Yeah. Is he close to cashing in some bonuses there here near the end of the season? But I like those. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I'm going to go a little bit more wishful thinking as far as my picks. My offensive star, Kyler Murray. Now, I know you're saying, hey, they're not going to throw the ball deep. And we know that Kyler Murray, in order to have a good game, he doesn't have to put up, big time passing statistics like 300 yards passing. But if he's efficient throwing the ball and then maybe leans on his legs a little bit, like he did at the end of the Carolina game where he had the 20-plus yard rushing touchdown, Kyler Murray, I mean, he has the ability to put the Cardinals and keep them in any game against any opponent. He still possesses that. He's got to be the star for him. And as we've been talking about all show, the stakes a little bit higher for Kyler Murray going into a game that the Cardinals have really nothing on the line in, with 2 left in the season, being eliminated from playoff contention. So Kyler Murray's got to rise to the occasion. It's got to be a K1 game. So I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray, hopefully getting right against the team he had a perfect passing rating against way back when in September. Zaven Collins, he had a sack against the Rams as well back then. I know that they were decimated on the offensive line. We remember Dennis Gardeck went off for 3 sacks in that game. The Cardinals can get some pressure off the edge here, and really the only guy remaining, I don't know what the status of Baron Browning is going to be going into this game, so I'm going to go with the guy that I know is going to play, Zaven Collins, to be one of their better defensive players in this game. And then Tip Ryman, I've got him as my X factor, Johnny. I'm not going to gross you out and say he's going to make a play in the passing attack or he's going to, catch a touchdown or anything like that.
I will believe.
I think with your two starting tackles down, Tip Ryman is going to have to come in and help as far as just keeping Kyler Murray upright and hopefully helping as he's done all season long in the run game.
Tip Ryman, the 82nd player drafted this year, has 6 catches on the season as a tight end. So, yeah, it's as gross as you tease Damon, hideous. And respectfully to Zaven Collins and Kyler Murray. Tip Ryman as an X factor, I think just underscores the fact that the Cardinals haven't gotten enough depth and impact from their rookie class. Because at least we know at the end of the day, Tip Ryman is going to play. He's going to be on the field. So, yeah, I mean, let's get gross, Damon. Hopefully you can save us from those predictions here.
Mine's gross in a totally different way. Might be the chalkiest of chalk.
Could be chalkier than your hold the line picks last.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a chalkier than a pick 'em, but I'm going Trey McBride, offensive star. I'm just at this point, I'm on my hands and my knees and I'm begging to the heavens, please, God.
They can't. They can't do it. They won't.
Let our sweet baby Trey find the end zone. I'm at the point. This was the first week, guys, where I questioned whether or not I should put Trey McBride as the offensive star. And that hurts me. It hurts me that Drew Petzing has done that to me, that Kyler Murray has done that to me, because it shouldn't be that way. But we're looking up at the heavens at this point. We're begging and pleading and just please find the end zone. Defensive star, Garrett Williams. Reasoning here being the Rams, I think they're just going to throw the football a lot. They have a passing attack that wasn't great last week, but needs to win this next week. And I think that they're going to show up and play well, the Rams. So your best corner is going to need to show up. And then for X Factor, James Conner, just in the fact that I think that this is going to be a blowout. If James Conner is not full go, if he's a little bit more 50-50 or they give more snaps to Trey Benson, I think the Rams blow the Cardinals out this weekend. If he plays fully, I could see them making it way more of a game. So that's my reasoning there on X Factor.
Ain't no Tre'Davious White for the Cardinals to pick on this time around. I think he's in Baltimore, and Marvin Harrison Jr. had him in hell, fresh hell. So, Damon, I'm with you. If James Conner's not effective, guess what? What happened last week, folks? Watching, we got 750 people watching this live. What happened when James Conner came out of that game? The Cardinals offense was flailing around, couldn't do anything. And it's that's a huge indictment of your play caller and your quarterback. Is if you feel a semblance of, I got to commit to a 28-year-old respectfully running back to lead my team when you got Trey flipping McBride and Kyler Murray making $50 million, enough's enough. I've seen enough. Fool me once, as you know, Bo Brock. So I do think pacifiers firmly in place for Drew Petzing. Got to have number 6 back there. Got to be able to give the rock 30 plus times to James Conner. And so we're sitting here now as a result. Who's surprised by that? I'm not surprised by it. Damon, I'm with you. I think if James Conner's not effective, this could get ugly quick.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think that they need him to carry this offense at this point in the season. I don't think that the passing game is going to just drastically improve. So yeah, got to have James Conner playing at the level he's played at really all season. Just don't know if at the end of the year with nothing to play for, will the Cardinals kind of use him like that.
If you're watching with us on our streaming platforms, jump on over to gophnx.com. Big thanks to everybody jumping on over there and hit a like on this video, but big thanks on our streaming partners. Bo, you're relatively reserved and quiet. Are you bracing for the worst? Or are you hoping for the best? Give me your actual kind of prediction here, because you picked K1. Is that a hope, or is that hey, I told you,
it was wishful thinking, right?
Okay.
It would help maybe calm the waters a little bit going into the finale, and then of course going into the off season where we're going to gear you up. If it's worst case scenario, no stone will go unturned as far as what way the Cardinals could potentially turn at the quarterback position. And then also, I mean, a lot of the damning part of the season, the damage is done as far as the Cardinals and where they fell short post-bye and sinking their season before the end of it. And even though the opportunity was there to claim a playoff spot, they crapped it away. It's really unfortunate. And then you couldn't have come up with kind of a worst case scenario going into a game that doesn't mean anything to the team, against a team that it means everything to them in the Rams. They have so much to lose. And McVay is going to have them coached up. And you look at McVay since 2017, we talked about how he hadn't lost going into State Farm Stadium his entire tenure until week 2. His average margin of victory against the Cardinals is like 11 points on average. So like the Rams score 27, the Cardinals score 16. And I think a lot of people believe that that's probably where this final score should be. Like, in the game should never, will the game ever become in question tomorrow? The Cardinals need to kind of change that narrative. Like you can't have these uncompetitive games against division foes as consistent as the Cardinals have.
Let's get to these predictions now. Bo, you mentioned lofty spreads with our friends at Bet365, lofty previous scores. Do our picks reflect that? Damon, Dawg, let's see them. I'll go first here. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think the Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately, right now are a byproduct of a team that has completely crumbled post-bye. It's embarrassing. It's unfortunate. I feel for the guys in the locker room. I'm sympathetic to Jonathan Gannon, but I'm also at a point right now where, have I been fully turned against Kyler Murray? No. I think he's a better option than a lot of guys around the NFL. But, man, they just, as my co-host mentioned, they blew this season. They blew it. They blew it for the people of the Valley, where Kenny Dillingham and ASU have succeeded every step, where people, neglected that program. The Cardinals had an opportunity to do the same, and they fell flat on their face. And I want to be wrong. I want to sit at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass tomorrow and commend Kyler Murray in a big-time win on national TV and be re-enthused. But I've seen this script too many times, and it's so damning that they blew this team out, and now they're a huge underdog because Vegas, at the end of the day, they don't play favorites. They bet with their wallets, and they put their money where their mouth is, and they feel like the Cardinals are a lofty road dog, and I think my score, Bo, kind of reflects that.
Yeah. Mine reflects that we as a show have been in unison as far as the Cardinals, I think, the last 3 weeks. And I just needed to throw a little, I need to throw some breaking stuff here. We just need to see if we can, I don't know, speak it into existence. If not, who cares? I'll be willing to look like the fool of the group. I've got the Cardinals winning in an unbelievable squeaker fashion, 27-26 on the road.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
I am fully entertained. I can't wait. Look at me. I'm just my hope is that this team is able to figure it out. But I understand what they're up against. Cardinals 27-26. Damon's gonna get us back on track with more of the theme like Johnny had.
I got a big blowout for the Rams, 31-13. Reasoning. I think the Cardinals keep it close in the first half. I think they're they come out well coached. They look decent. It's after a bad loss last week, and then just think things kind of fall apart in the second half. Offense doesn't get going. Maybe a couple fourth down conversions you don't convert on, and score looks a little bit worse than it is. But ultimately, the Rams handle the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, Kyren Williams, Puka, Cooper Kupp. It's a lot up to full strength back on the offensive line, which they weren't in week 2. I mean, one point you made off the air, Damon, was every time we feel like we're out on this team, Gannon and his staff are able to have his team come back out of nowhere, almost.
They prep well in those games
from the clouds, and kind of are able to kind of reclaim the narrative. But look, I mean, I've been watching this team for too long against the Rams, far too many times where they've humbled this team, made things look really ugly, and they have the ability to do that. They have the ability to win this game running away and focus on huge week 18 game against the Seahawks. Is this a game though, guys, that where we feel like our Rams fans, is it on their radar? They're like, oh, important football again. Like, are we maybe we'll show up to the stadium and support the local 53?
It's gonna be gross, like Magic Johnson. People, they'll have all the celebrities
Magic
there.
Johnson are the Commanders.
Ohtani.
Yeah,
Ohtani will be
they'll
out there.
fraud it up. Yeah, Damon's right. That's who I meant to say. Ohtani, the celebs that don't care, they'll be in their luxury suites, and Stafford's wife will be out there, and it'll just be a love affair with the right. And they deserve
out there.
They deserve it, man.
Hey, Flavor Town's here, and you're just like, why? There's Guy Fieri there and Eric Dickerson. Awesome.
They deserve it. You know what the Cardinals deserve? To not be in postseason contention right now because they blew it. Like, you beat Carolina last week, a team that has been awful, unwatchable at times for multiple years. And this game, you went out, you win the NFC West. And that's Ryan. That's certainly a take.
That's my shout out, Ryan. That's my inside joke I've been saying for months on the D-backs show.
I just Arizona Cardinals. You're right, Damon. It's a great point by you. They were 1-3. They were 2-4. They battled back. I just think post-bye, they're a completely different team. I have not seen the team that was 6-4, coincidentally, in a month and a half. I just think this is who the Cardinals are now. Like, we're at the end of the year. I don't expect this to be fixed with Marv right now. The pass protection clearly has gotten worse now. You've missing both tackles. The defense, as overwhelmingly positive as we've been, could just be out of gas, right? And, as Ossenfort saying, we got a lot of young players we're developing. I'm sure he's talking about, the Max Meltons of the world. What's happened with this offense and Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray? There's just too much stank on it. And then you look on the other side, and Stafford and McVay and Puka Nacua are the flipping gold standard. The Cardinals would love that. They would love to be 7/10 of what they are. And they're not. They're right now, in my opinion, they're one of the most underachieving units in the NFL right now. You have Kyler Murray for every game this year, and he's last in the NFL in passing touchdowns. People should be fired, and we're going to call for people to be fired and or replaced if this continues on. Let's get to your super chats here. Josh, $10, kicking things off. Appreciate everybody being patient here. Kyler has shown this season that he is a middle-of-the-pack game manager. He won't be bad enough to tank and is only good enough to win a playoff game or two over his career. If he wins a playoff game at this point, I think we would all throw a parade. But what did I say a couple weeks ago, Bo? I said Kyler Murray right now is kind of like an Alex Smith. That's kind of who you got right now.
Yeah. You need to get to one to even kind of prove, right or wrong, kind of the rest of that super chat. Thank you, Josh. We'll go from Josh to Joshua, $5.99. Let's be real. Before the season, we would have taken this amount of W's. Still, rebuild year. We splash the cash in free agency and push for the playoffs.
This is worst case scenario, though, Joshua. They literally are on pace to now lose out and be 1-6. No one would have taken that. Not all 7 and 10
Context
seasons
matters.
are created
It really
equal.
does. Yep, no doubt about it. Corey Blair, but thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, Joshua.
Look, there are going to be some things we can look back and kind of put in perspective, but overall, it was a disappointing, especially into the season for the Cardinals. I don't think anybody can deny that. Corey Blair, $199, AFC South, NFC South next year. Give K1 next year. Yeah, he's going to have every ability to beat up on some bad teams. Didn't have that luxury. It was a tough schedule, but we're coming off a loss against an NFC South opponent this previous weekend. They lost the Carolina Panthers.
Brock Purdy and Geno Smith and Stafford going to play those teams too. You'd sweep those if you're going 0-4.
I think that the NFC West, given that those are their two non-division opponents next season, it's going to look similar to what the NFC North got to experience this year.
No doubt.
Let's see who we got here.
I got it. Castile Fitness, $2. Bo, what about JJ McCarthy if the Vikings keep Darnold? JJ McCarthy's knee is required a second surgery. Cardinals can't be, in my opinion, both sniffing around that.
Yeah, probably just let them. We'll see. I think we need to see JJ McCarthy before start trading assets for him, and I don't think it would benefit the Vikings to just give up on him for nothing. I think that this is semi intriguing for a potential target there, but the problem is the Vikings, I think, would ask for more than what the Cardinals would be willing to give, and the Cardinals will want to give less than what the Vikings are asking for. So it's it just won't match up from a value standpoint. They're going to value him higher than the Cardinals will. So If they could get him on a cut rate price.
Remember that'd be irony.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
After we're talking about the Cardinals sitting there at 4th overall and the Vikings
I hate my life if that happens.
Yeah,
I hate my life. Johnny clips up of him calling him raggedy arm. JJ McCarthy.
I'm sure there was conversations between Kwesi and Ossenfort, and Ossenfort's like 3-1s, man. And now like he's calling. He's like, hey, what would it take to get JJ McCarthy? And Vikings GM's probably 3-1s. Joshua. $4.99. So many Joshes and Joshuas. Coaches making nobody receivers produce. Zero blame for Marv. He would be a star in McVay's offense. No excuse for Kyler. He needs a perfect situation.
I agree on the Marv point. I think Marv would be over 1,000. He'd be much more comfortable. I think you're seeing now with Sam Darnold, like coaching scheme, football IQ, it means everything, guys. And it's not everybody's Justin Jefferson that can translate their situation. Like Drew Petzing, Kyler Murray aside, I think has botched Marvin Harrison Jr.'s development this year. I'm not putting it on a 22-year-old kid. Iron, $10, Bo. I tallied K1's time in Arizona when he's healthy and playing. Cards, excluding the tie in the Patriot Neal game. Cards paying him $50 million to be a 45% win rate player. 35 wins, 43 losses every week. Just flip a coin. Well, I would say, he's got more losses than wins. We knew that. But Iron, I appreciate the super chat. Bo, just what Gannon and Ossenfort would have to sell everybody on is, well, this is the best version of our team under us in this rebuild. And we feel like we've got the pieces where Kyler can play winning football for us. And maybe they're not wrong. I don't know.
Kyler Murray threw like a full season's length of time before the bye, right? It was, when he came back against the Falcons last year.
Yeah.
Through week 10 here. That was 17 games worth of play. He was a 500 quarterback, right? And then post bye, he's significantly under 500. Where you can point and say, hey, he was able to elevate this group. Haven't been able to say that the last couple of weeks. And I think that's where, the conversations really start. Jason, $2. If we'd never seen K1 ball out, I'd say trade. Hashtag fire Drew.
We know they can beat the Jets and the Bears. We know that they can beat the Jets and the Bears, but outside of beating the Rams and the Chargers, they haven't beaten a good team this year. I don't know.
Sticking with Jason for $2.
Yeah.
But I'll still add, if a new OC and K1 fail, then I'm 5 kg.
What do you? I don't even want to give you hypotheticals because I think we got to get through tomorrow and see how that goes. But Damon, I'll ask you this: what's the likelihood that Drew is gone after this year?
You got to switch something up, right? And I think there's going to be a fall guy. I know Bo and I were talking a little bit yesterday, and he mentioned to me that it could be Drew Terrell, who a lot of people have, kind of put it up as maybe the potential in-house replacement for a Drew Petzing. So I think someone's got to fall on the sword just for vibe's sake more than anything.
But I don't think you're going to appease the fan base with a Drew Terrell firing or position coach firing.
I'm with you there.
I don't think that's going to be the conclusion or the solution that JG is going to land on. I don't think he's going to look at this post bye and say, hey, this is going to be the enough impact for us to move forward here and find success again. I don't think he's going to look at it and say, yeah, we're just going to get rid of a couple assistant coaches and that's going to ruffle the feathers enough. I just don't think he would believe that. I think he would understand that they need a bigger move.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, I think a lot of it's going to be predicated on certainly tomorrow night and the finale.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jalen Blair, $4.99. Here's here's the gotcha. What if Kyler decides he can't win here and asks out? LOL.
I think Kyler Murray would get laughed at by 31 other GMs because, the Cardinals are not a button-up organization historically, but you're throwing 16 touchdown passes. You're on pace to throw 17, 18. I think people now are putting him in that category of a game manager. Game managers can't really dictate their home. And I would also, if Kyler Murray hit the open market, how much is Kyler Murray getting paid? I think that's a question for Ian, his agent, Eric Burkhart. Like, I don't know if he'd be making $50 million. So Kyler Murray wants to stay and be the quarterback of this team. And we want him to stay and do well. But like, at what point does this have an expiration date? I feel like could be rapidly approaching. Jason's back $2. See if I got this. We trade a top 5 QBR for who? The quarterback, the QBR rating differs from the quarterback rating, and that's being thrown around a lot. I don't take it seriously when it doesn't lead to points and passing touchdowns and yard. Like we saw, Jason, the real statistics. The Cardinals don't have big plays in their passing game. You can't win like that. You just can't.
Is this Jiminy?
Yeah.
I like that name. Kirk Cousins is Sam Bradford 2.0. Happy holidays. Kirk Cousins is right there with Sam Bradford as far as, all-time NFL bank robbers. Just to the amount of money that they're going to have, career totals, and the lack of wins and significant wins it'll blow your mind.
I mean, last year,
Sam Bradford never won a playoff game, right?
No, I don't even know if he made the playoffs.
And then Kirk, he hasn't won a playoff game, or is it one?
He won
playoff
one, and it was an OT winner against the Saints, right? Where Kyle Rudolph pulled down a 50-50 ball fade.
Oh wow!
Win an OT.
Listen,
he's made like 300 million, 250 million.
Yeah, I mean,
one playoff win.
This is Cardinals are just they're in a tough spot right now. Bo Peterson, Johnny, and Kirk sitting in a tree.
294 million, by the way, for Kirk Cousins.
It's a decent amount.
Playoff win.
FUMBLING. I am not pro Kirk Cousins. PR Max saying $2. Cousins will be Sam Bradford 2.0. Guys, we're just saying the hard part out loud. If they trade Kyler Murray, if they bail on K1, who is starting for them next fall? Who is starting for them? That they could get people to buy season tickets and feel. They're not starting Malik Willis. They're not starting Justin Fields. I just threw that name out there because the Shanahan tree has always been obsessed with Kirk Cousins.
You love Kirk Cousins.
All right,
Peter Mack
shut your mouth.
Well, Cousins will be Sam Bradford 2.0. And then Terrence, the Fox body guy. It's very hard to execute plays when the play calling is trash. And Kyler split defenders last week to rush for the score. He's trying to get Dortch more involved.
Something has to give. Like that's the theme of these next 2 weeks, Terrence. Whether it's Petzing, K1, McBride, Marvin, this passing game, figure it out. Do something where this fan base is going to get up and say, you know what? We can build off of that. This is the litmus test, if I've ever seen one, Bo. You've got the Rams with everything to play for and the Niners with nothing to play for, but they have 2 blue-chip elite coaches, and you got Kyler Murray. And we're at a crossroads here, and the only place to watch this potential, car crash or culmination of hopefully Kyler Murray jumping back on the right track is here with PHNX Cardinals. We're going to have your definitive pre-halftime and post-game show tomorrow. We're going to have full coverage of the matchup in prime time. You can check us out in person at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. It's our last game of the year there. Bo's going to join us in studio on set. Damon, Dawg will be there, the whole crew. And we're going to have a great time regardless if the Cardinals wet the bed again, Bo.
Yeah, we're just going to hang out. The stakes won't be too high, but the vibes are going to be very high as far as where we're going to be hanging out. And we'll just sit back and watch what unfolds in front of us and then react to it, as you said, halftime and post-game show. And of course, join with us pregame show going off right around 5:30, right?
Yeah.
Going to be awesome. Can't wait to do it. One last ride for the season with our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. Anything else before we get out of here?
Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Drop us a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Quickly approaching 40,000 subscribers at PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Big thanks to everybody. Hope everybody had a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. And again, keep us locked in. We got so much content, so much good stuff. Check out our mock draft from earlier this week, Bo. We've got shorts. We've got segmented clips. Your full premier coverage is here for the Arizona Cardinals, Bo, on PHNX Sports.
Yeah, don't miss anything, including Damon's new venture, AZ Wildcats.
That's right.
Make sure you're checking that out on the daily at noon. locally here in Arizona. Him and Kevin, they're killing it. I really enjoy the conversation. If you like this show, you're going to love that show as well. Check out Damon and Kev talk about their beloved Wildcats.
Yeah, any Cats fans, hop in the chat. If you're a Devils fan too, we love that as well. I mean, we've always been known here at PHNX Sports. Lots of U of A fans in the ASU chat, talking crap, talking mess when U of A's on top, ASU's on the bottom. Now it's your guys' turn to repay the favor, so we accept all.
All right. Absolutely. Drop us a like. Smash that like. Put in the comments, if the Cardinals trade Kyler Murray, who's your quarterback for 2025 and potentially beyond? For Bull Brock, Damon, Dawg, I'm Johnny Venerable.
Cousins.
We'll see you tomorrow. All right, smartass. We'll see you tomorrow.
You like that?
On a pregame show. Pregame show tomorrow, 5:30.
We all silly like the mayor.